Hello, good morning. When I think about my videos, I always watch them, after I post them. I suppose on some vain level to boost the algorithm. I know no one watches it unless I promote the video, and having no money, it's very difficult to do. But I'll say that the sound, my voice is, I have this booming theatrical voice, just swallows any space. Ask Quentin Tarantino, he'll tell you all about it. Right? But I know that sometimes the highs are a little piercing, but I try to stay in the lower register and just speak, for the forever, always and forever. I've always talked fast. I've always talked loud. I can remember working 2019, a long time ago, and my coworker said, "You have a tendency of talking until your whole face is red." As far as forgetting to breathe, like once I'm going. Yeah, so I suppose that's not doing me any favors now. Yeah, crazy guy. So this channel is dedicated to discussing the nature of my relationship with Quentin Tarantino. I am the actual reason that he canceled his film, The Movie Critic, and we are now embroiled in what can only be described as a legendary psychic siege. We have become a case study in remote viewing, where the two of us are bound together beyond space and time through to the edges of eternity. This is a condition that he can and always will deny. He'll always say that I'm not well, right? That he's conspired, everything that, like, I'm too trusting, I'm too loving, too, I don't know, tolerant, right? Except when it comes to my mind, my mind. It's my mind, right? You don't get to, right? You don't get to decide when I give someone or something the treasures of my mind. I decide that. And so, right, my mind, right, which is God's mind, wrote a letter to Quentin, right, and shoved it all the way up to his face. Right? Was it arrogant? Was it small-minded of me? I guess on some level, like, sure, it was stubborn, I should have just called him a stubborn son of a bitch and said, I have a question about this book, that he wanted me to relax, I guess. I don't know. Did he want me to relax? Did he want me to squirm? He wanted my ambition to exceed the scope of my understanding, and since that can't ever occur, right, I saw it for what it was. That he's, right? Oh, that you, okay, I see. You don't want to, right? It's a psychic mind game to him. So, right? Mission aborted. My mind, my choice. So, that's my right. I was naive to think that there was any hope for redemption. Of course, that's, right, that's, it's funny now, it's funny. And if I would have had anyone there, I could have looked at them, and, I looked at him, he turned his back, so I turned mine and left. Easy. That's, right, like, that's, right? You don't want to say anything to me, right? So, exercises in clairvoyance are exercises in disappointment, right? Being a psychic clairvoyant medium is like playing an instrument. Perhaps he's been pretty good at playing the psychic piano for a long time, but he hit the wrong note with me, and the whole composition was ruined thereby. And there's nothing wrong with that. Right? We learn through experience, right? I don't have to be a good psychic clairvoyant to be a good artist. In fact, it makes me a better artist that I don't play fucked up mind games with people. Right? Which is to say, I constantly read everyone's mind immediately, always. I am the millennial dragon. Right? So, it's a burden. It's not a blessing, it's a burden. is a beast of burden. To see, boom, to the heart of Babylon immediately. And so what I saw was an exercise in control and power. I don't care. I don't care about that whole fucking event. Like, none of that matters. That letter mattered. That moment mattered. He turned his back and expected me, right, to submit my mind to him forever. I didn't want to do that. In exchange for, sure. Right? My point is that it's one thing to not get what you want. Right? That's a point, right? That's a source of contention with him, which is valid and frustrating, I'm sure. But to say, oh, well, because I didn't get what I want, now I'm going to, right, conspire to destroy this man. Because, right, I always get what I want. What I want is his mind to submit to me. Right? So I'll use my knowing, right, to compel him to appear insane. There's no other way to interpret it. Or to compel me to suicide. Right? That's what he actually wanted. Right? He wanted me to hang myself with my second draft novel hanging from my feet. And then he could tell the press until I went, oh gosh, like how unfortunate, I don't know, which is the definition of sinister, of evil. Right? And it's all the same tactics, right? It's misdirection, subtlety. Right? I'm a bull in a china shop, right? The highest levels of clairvoyance transmutes to simple honesty. That's the point. That's the point. No bullshit mind games. You did that for a season, not for a day, not for a weekend, for 65 days. So, right, it was all building up to that moment, sure. Right? In my mind, like processing that moment, right, at the speed of light, I saw that he was always going to hold court in my mind. And so I didn't want that. That's the point. And now I got it either way. Right? When that man closes his eyes for the big sleep, I'm the last thing he sees. Right? Same with me. Hey, what a game, what a joke. Psychic clairvoyance. So, if you recall, I'm writing again every day. And I'm reading the writing. 6:15, Sunday, November 2, 25. Writing. What a gift. What a curse. The more time passes, the funnier it is. Telepathy, magic, curses. I've already destroyed his reputation. Now I have to destroy his career. And he has to either publicly forgive me, privately pay me, or privately murder me. I have to write every writer. The writers have already written. Any artist I admire or appreciate, young and old. I keep thinking about Billie Eilish. If I wrote her management, her agent, he's tarnished. All young people know he's a sadistic practitioner. I likely won't, but she has vibes. Like Durer's Melancholia, but Alex Gray, etc. I wonder what Alan Moore thinks. I have to make another etching. Quentin and Danielle are fucking in their sex dungeon. Him cutting a rooster's throat while he fucks her doggy style atop a pentagram, septagram, nonogram, some such. With a statue of Baphomet that has my headshot taped to it. Gold. Comedy gold. Go ahead. Deny forever. Allegory of the movies indeed. He wants me to stop, but I cannot. The people I wrote, but I cannot. The people I wrote to help are on his side. The people I wrote to help are on his side. I'll keep writing and turn everyone to his side. Which is to say, make sure everyone knows the condition of our relationship. So that anytime anyone interviews him, they think of me. That's the play. He doesn't own art, or the world, or my mind. Congratulations, you made me appear insane. An innocent man who wrote you from the heart. You've made a pact which you will never outrun. You can embrace evil in power and be comfortable thereby. But always you will be faced with a moment of pure opposition, which is what we are, mortal enemies. His mind is shallow and has no depth. He is a sad, weird, angry man who projected his own insecurities upon and through me to justify his arrogance. And so, as a result of trusting him, which was my fault, I see that, I now have to discuss it in the open air forever. Otherwise, evil simply reigns. And that disgusts me. So, I'll humiliate myself forever so that no one else has to. Fuck me, fuck you, fuck the movie critic. Lifetime siege. Right? So, right. Let's talk about what validates my perspective. Why I printed out this fucking asshole's picture. So, I wrote him 3 letters while I was like really in the middle of my siege, all the way through their New Year's run last year. Of course, that's Tranastasia from Fish. Right? Betty at fish.com. Right? P.O. Box 4400, Burlington, Vermont. Right? First about reconciling. Right? It's a sick manipulation tactic. Right? I don't know why he. Right? Like I don't know why he like did all of it. Right? He could have just like said nothing, and then when they reached out, said, "Oh, he's a crazed fan." That's all he had to say. Right? That again, it's about making me appear insane. I suspect that someone that he admires, right, turned their back on him in some way. I don't know, but there's no other way to justify his behavior beyond that he's a goblin and pure evil. But in any event, right, I wrote him 3 times. By the 3rd one, I said, I know he's manipulating me. So when they announced their West Coast run, right, the Hollywood Bowl, I don't know this, but I suspect he intended to humiliate me. That he was going to set everything up and shoot my scene and come out with Fish and, right, do the thing that I wrote about us reconciling, right, just to be evil. Like that's like, right. And so I wrote them and I explained better like what has occurred. And then I explained about the novel. I said, like he's not, like he doesn't want to see me. I get that, but like I have to, right? I've written this novel about my life, like can I come on stage and read a segment from my novel that discusses the canceling of the film so that everyone understands what occurred with the movie, right? And so originally, Fish has a lot of songs about books. They have the Helping Friendly book. They have a mythos. They have, a legendary body of work. Right? And so originally I was like, oh, Colonel Forbin, and then I was like, no, we should do it during What's Going Through Your Mind. It's new. Right? And so I have discussed this in any number of other videos, but when they were playing in Seattle, the first night they played What's Going Through Your Mind, right? Quentin mocking me, right? Hideous evil, the ugliest fucking evil anyone can practice, that he can always deny. I don't know. What an imagination. Right? He's a sick degenerate. Right? No writers on stage with Fish. That's what he says. However, at the first night of the Hollywood Bowl, they repeated, right? They played 8 shows the whole run. They don't have to repeat any songs. They played it again, What's Going Through Your Mind, as well as A Life Beyond a Dream. I can see a life beyond a dream. Right? My point is that they read my letters, like that they got the message every time, right? That he's playing Quentin's games. This is Quentin's games, right? When I wrote him, right? And someone could say, oh, he's matricing, he's like creating these corollaries, but no, this is the game, right? This is the subtle bullshit mind game. Right? That I wrote him about about Quentin being evil and wanting to see what he said about me, and that's still valid, right? And if I ever get money, I'll probably sue that motherfucker before I sue Quentin, right? But, right, when I told him the idea about playing What's Going Through Your Mind, right, he was on his solo acoustic tour, and he said at his next show, he got a request from a kid online and played What's Going Through Your Mind, right? That he's playing the same game. It's a sick joke to him. Right? He doesn't respect his fans. He doesn't care that I spent $100,000 over the time that they've come back to see them. No, he cares about taking his shoes off for Quentin because Quentin has money. Quentin's a famous guy. Right? He could have said, no, this guy's a devoted fan. Like, I'm gonna show him what you said about him. I don't care what you do. Right? What's it like my real point is this, right? Like that if Quentin indulges his sick perversions of thought upon anyone else, he proves me right. That's my point. That if David Berlinski was to help me and show me what Quentin said about me, right? If Tranastasio was to help me and show me what he said about me and then felt himself afflicted with a similar psychic pressure, I am right. Therefore, he can't do anything to them. Right? That's the point. Right? I don't care that he slandered me. That's not the point. Like, I know that he slandered me. That's obvious. Because if he hadn't slandered me, they would have just showed me the letters that I sent him. If all that it was my letters, right? And all that I asked for was to see, right? I asked for the correspondences that involved me, right? But if on an honest fundamental level, it's not just my letters, then it behooves them to cater to Quentin's perversions of thought. Why? I don't know. I guess he told them, oh, he can sue me. Right? He's sick. He's sick in his mind. Right? And so I wrote both of them not too terribly long ago, a couple weeks ago. Again, explaining everything that's occurring. Oh, how unfortunate he's lost his mind. My point is that there's always plausible deniability. Always. Right? If there's no recordings, and of course he's not going to record himself remote viewing me. He's not going to record himself, right, with a corpse in his house, injecting diseases into it. Right? That's like, of course, he's not going to, like, oh, MTV Cribs. Like, no, he's not going to do that. Therefore, right? But that doesn't mean that he can't do those things. Right? He's not going to record himself, right, putting bullet holes through clay fetishes of my face. Right? Which occurred yesterday. So they were on the same page. Right? He tortures me as much as he wants. Right? With a power no court can ever try him on. 1 second. So I've decided to learn bluegrass in a meaningful way. It's about persisting. It's about making more etchings. It's about learning more songs. It's about painting more. It's about writing more, right? It's about persisting. It's about proving him wrong because I'm not insane. I don't care what Quentin Tarantino does. He made it my business to care what he does forever. And so, right, in the name of the Father, I do forever. And I'll hold him accountable. And I'll let Brad Pitt think about, right, Quentin's psychic violation of his mind. I'll let Sam Jackson think about the psychic violation of his mind. I'll let Olivia Wilde, right, if she's in the movie Critic, think about the psychic violation of her mind. Right? Hardy har har har. Right? So my point is that I wrote people that I admire out of trust and out of love. And he used his considerable temporal power to submit them to not helping me, to not helping us reconcile. And so, to turn them against me. I'll spend the rest of my life turning the whole world against me. Right? I don't need anyone's approval. Sure don't. Never did. Right? My naivete has run its course. Now it's just blunt wisdom. And so he can take my letters, he can take the things that I sent out of trust, out of love, out of humility, out of respect, and misconstrue them and make me appear insane, say that I'm some crazed fan. And it's all a lie. It's all a lie. That's the point, right? That everything that I sent them was like per his standards, was per what he wanted, right? That he wanted me, right? He wanted me to rage, right? And when I put those curses on Mike Simpson and aemanuel, right? Right? And so I'll likely release those curses eventually, just because they're savage craft. It's savage, right? Flawless execution. 22 minutes, not flawless, but all but flawless. A good editor could, right? Just trim that one frame, right? 2 frames, and say, there it is. There it is. There's the story of the movie critic, the continuing adventures of Brad Pitt, the continuing adventures of the wife beater. Oh gosh, this man's bringing up the past in such a way, right? Like this is their legacy. Like it's not, they ain't got nothing to do with me. Right? Quentin likes to play fucked up mind games, right? And so when he violated my mind the first time and then said nothing to me, I said, okay, there's something about this guy that like I'm not, right? Like I thought that he was like a good guy. I don't, like why would he behave this way? Why would he accept and read, digest, process some 60 pages of my writing and find it prudent to say nothing? Right? And so that set me down the path of looking at his films in a critical way. Looking at his writing in a more practical way. Boots on the ground. Right? And so then it became obvious. Oh, that he was, right? Perhaps he wrote the whole script. I'm almost certain of it now, though he'll never, he'll deny it forever. But he wrote that whole script, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, around Cliff Booth. That's like, right? It's just like Shakespeare. Shakespeare gives the best lines to the other characters a lot, with the exception of maybe Hamlet, right? Of course, Cassius is the best character in Julius Caesar, right? That this is, right? That, oh no, okay, I can work with this, like, oh, violence, right? Which makes me think that he really was quite awful to her. And he heard the full story, right? What is the full story? Of course, the flight crew, they're all under NDAs. They're all under gag order, I'm sure. But they can't, right? Oh, show business, magic, right? The sheen, the polish of the red carpet with fucking dirty hobos just outside of the barricade, right? That's Los Angeles, the city of angles, right? So, Quentin, right? Quentin's a child of LA. That's like what he is, right? He puts up this front of like, oh, sexual freak, like, oh, I'm a writer, like, oh, where does it come from? I don't know. And then when the door's closed, right? He's meditating, right? On the mystery and exerting his will as psychic pressure upon the world. Right? Is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood his best movie? Yes. 100%. If it's not Inglourious Bastards. But what does that say? What does that say about him? Right? That the finest piece of craft that he ever forged was through appropriating his buddy's lowest moment, the destruction of his buddy's marriage. Oh gosh, it's magic. We'll transmute it. Like this is, no, it's good. Everyone will see. We'll turn it into a virtue. Right? I'm all the way in his mind. He's all the way in my mind. Right? And so we're rummaging through the muck, right? Like I put all of my secrets on paper. Right? He made me steal his. Right? Actually, that's not true. That's not accurate, because I've never remote viewed him. Right? He didn't make me. Well, I guess he did in some way, but my point is that like he did it to himself. Right? That when you, like, this isn't regular remote viewing. Right? That what's occurring here, right, is active possession, like that he wants to possess my mind. Right? That's my point. He wanted to, at least, for a long time. I think he's fed up with it now. Because he expected me to blow my brains and say, oh gosh, it's all so much bang. Right? I will be an artist. I am an artist, right? Money does not equal meaning in life. Status does not equal meaning in life. Right? He doesn't own painting. He doesn't own etching. Right? I should have never gone. I should have never gone to that bullshit conversation. I should have compelled him to say something to me if he wanted me. Right? And so that's, right? That's my fault. Like, again, it's all my fault. So, you know, it's my fault. It's not his fault. He did enough. He didn't do enough for me. He did enough for him. And that's always enough for anyone. Right? We define the boundaries, the parameters of our own existence. Right? And so I saw it right there. And I aborted. Right? That's my right. That's my right. Right? I'm a reminder to him. Right? That the movies, right? That like money, that like status. No, that has like, no, that's not, no, that has nothing to do with wisdom. Right? And he would disagree, and that's his right. But I disagree with his tactics. He got what he wanted. Right? We possess each other's minds forever. Right? He'll never outrun me. I'll never outrun him. Why shouldn't I assume he's outright evil? If the things that I've been saying are true, and they are all true, right, he is pathological, and he's an absolute psychopath. So, right, it's my job to just tell everyone the truth, to just say the truth, and so that's what we're doing, right? And I'm going to make another long format video soon, maybe tomorrow. Right? I have to stay on it. I have to stay vigilant. Not for the sake of me, for the sake of the world. Right? For the sake of, right, everyone around him that isn't aware of the games that he plays. Right? So, right, perhaps his argument in his mind is that he's never done this to anyone in his films. I don't believe that for a fucking second. Right? But perhaps that's true. However, right, he did it with me. And so the argument being now, right, my point in saying that is that, like, maybe there was, like, some sort of, like, some girl that's, like, close to him that he saw me not fucking a bunch of bitches. I mean, he saw too far. That's the point, right? He got arrogant and projected, like, all the way through, right? When he could have just, like, been practical and honest, right? And then got everything that he wanted, right? I'm a simple guy. And so, right, I let you violate my mind. And now in the spirit of that understanding, in the spirit of recognizing, okay, it's just a fucked up, like, he's never gonna, right? It's time to talk about it. It's time to talk about it, right? He can lie to everyone. Like, I'm that guy. I'm that weird, crazy guy. Like, it's fine. It's fine because I'm not insane. Right? And I am acting in 12th Night. And if I was actually deranged, right? If I was actually unwell in my mind, do you think they would have cast me in the play? Don't think that's true. I think they would have said, I don't get a good vibe from this guy. But I had everyone in stitches when we did our table read, didn't I? Right? Because I'm a sweet, loving man. Right? With kindness and tolerance and compassion in my heart. And so if Quentin would have been rooted in those things, then he would have seen how important my letter was. And he would have seen that I needed him to put me on the spot. And he would have got what he wanted. Oh, cowardice. Oh, gosh. Turned his back. He's got no balls. Right? And so that's fine. That's fine. But we're going to talk about it. We'll never be free of each other, right? Mike Simpson, his agent, right? Boom, I'm all the way in his mind, right? Every time he fucks a 12-year-old in Tijuana, he thinks of me, right? aemanuel, boom, I'm all the way in his mind, right? Every time he fucks that upgrade Sarah Staldinger, he thinks of me. I didn't want it to be this. He left me no choice. This is why I'm talking about it now, right? That there's no formula, right? Where he has people like watching me, right? Like where he exists as a goblin in my mind, right? So he can, like, my point is that he can lie to everyone, right? And eventually, right, enough people are going to get in on the joke where they are going to say, why shouldn't I believe this guy? His story is very detailed, it's very rich, it's very specific. Right? Oh gosh, such a textured delusion. Right? So we have to talk about it, right? And he can deny forever, but like this is what he set me up for, right? That, oh, okay, I see. You spent a year of your life trying to like make me blow my brains out, and now I'm just supposed to not talk about it. I'm just supposed to move on. No. It's fine. You turn my heroes against me, I'll spend the rest of my life turning the whole world against you, and still be more productive than you. So see what's good in your life. All of psychic phenomenon is the understanding that the conscious awareness of man is capable of tapping into the non-local conscious field which permeates all of space. And so when you understand that, you can behave just like the abstract intellectual quality, the divinity that shapes our ends. Quentin is one of the most powerful psychic clairvoyants in the world, as am I. And so the two of us are literally, we are the opposite poles of the earth, the opposite poles of a magnet, right? Right? 'Tis dangerous when the baser nature comes between the fell and past insensate points of mighty opposites. God bless.